What is up, everyone? JD here. Hope you're doing well today. We're going to be taking a look at the giant mouse Atelier. Let's get into it. All right, so what we're going to be doing today is we're going to do some size comparison. We'll do some profile comparison, check the weight on this particular Atelier out, and then we'll jump into my thoughts and impressions. Let's go ahead and kick it off with a couple of budget knives. Here it is against the Miguron Moyarl and the Civivi Boltisk. And as you can see, this is definitely a small EDC. So we're going to use the smaller EDCs for those profile comparisons, but let's go ahead and keep going with these size comparisons. Here it is against the Spyderco Shaman, and we'll move the Moyar to the side for a minute. Here it is against the Spyderco Para 3, which I still consider medium size. As you can see, the Atelier is definitely a small knife. Let's check out the profile, and then we'll check out the weight. All right, we'll start off with a comparison against the Para 3, and you can see that is a pretty comparable size comparison. Very, very dead even. Let me move my hand. It's focusing on my hand, guys. Very dead even as far as thickness profile. Almost put the wrong knife away again. And then I think the Moyarl is going to be a little bit thicker, guys. Just a little bit thicker, but it's close. It's very, very close. Let's go ahead and grab the scale, bring that in here. Let's check the weight on this one out. Feels like it's over 3.5. Yeah, coming in at 4.2 ounces. Now, I do have the information here up. I did want to check the weight advertised on the micarta liner lock version, because they do have some more affordable versions, and then they have this one. So they claim 3.3. Let's check the titanium real fast, and let's see how it compares versus the scale. Oh, the titanium's out of stock over on Blade HQ too, just an FYI. So 4.24 ounces. So that micarta variant is definitely going to be a lighter version. All right, let's go ahead and jump into my thoughts and impressions, and we'll kind of talk about sizes and everything like that. All right, so first what I want to do, because I'm going to do a cut test that I'll insert and talk about the edge performance, but I do want to just really quick check the factory edge. I don't know how many have had this before me. So not bad. It is tearing. I don't know how many have had it before me. Honest to goodness, I think a little strop would fix it. It's definitely got a couple little jagged spots on there, but I will strop it before I do my little tiny cut test, which is basically going to be the paper again after I strop it. And then we'll take it through some cardboard, and then in the garage, because this is an overview, I'll kind of give you my thoughts and impressions there. It's definitely got some tape or something on it too, so it could be that it doesn't have any blemishes on the edge. It could be that it's gummed up, and this actually might be my fault. I think I used it to unbox something, so I'll clean it up. If it needs it, I'll strop it, cut test, garage, and I'll tell you my thoughts and impressions for the blade itself. Ergonomics, they're okay. It's too small for me, so I'm hanging off the back. 1, 2, my ring finger lands right on the notch there, so it's not comfortable for me. Outside of that, I do feel a little bit of the jimping here for the lock bar access on my finger. It actually is biting into it a little bit, so I was a little disappointed by that, because I normally like Giant Mouse's knives, but this has a thinner profile, neutral ergos, and then this hot spot here for me creates an issue. The bite from the jimping, and the pocket clips landing in a funny spot for me, which is unusual, because usually the wire clips from Giant Mouse, again, don't bother me, but I think that's because they land further back here where it's a little bit softer. Right now it's kind of getting me right here on that middle finger, so I think it all comes down to the size for the ergos. Those three things aside, I really like the knurling on here, the milling. That does feel nice. It adds a little bit of texture, and it is interesting because right here, it's very shallow, and I think that has to do with the contoured scale. So it feels like it's almost bald right here between the pivot and the pocket clip screw, but then all around on the outside here you have that knurling. So I don't know if that'll come through on the picture so that you can see what it is that I'm talking about, but I don't notice that on this side. So I don't know if that's a blemish, if that's intentional, if it's just that it's got so shallow in that one spot that you can't really see it, because here I feel like you can really see it. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna give me 1 second. So that really makes a difference to me. I like the bronze backspacer here. I always like that. Doesn't do too much as far as the weight. I don't know if it's anodized titanium or if it's a brass backspacer. I'm thinking brass because it just wants to keep falling. The weight of the knife is going to be a little wonky with that brass backspacer. I can't even find it. It's somewhere in this area. My goodness, am I struggling to find it. I felt like I went too far forward a second ago when I went to the middle of the body. So it's right there. So balance is way back on the blade, and I'm a little disappointed in that. Feels like it's got a decent geometry. It looks like the edge is okay. I like the jimping here for the detail work. That is a good spot for it. I always enjoy their jimping. They do a good job with not being too aggressive and a decent location for the control. Ironically, even though I have all the complaints about it for too small for me, I really like this in the pinch grip. Like for detailed work, pinch grip, this is nice. And you know, you probably could get the front part of the index finger up on here and get your middle finger into that groove, and then you're just hanging off with the pinky off the back to use this for, you know, light duty work. I wouldn't want to break down cardboard with this one. It's not the right size for me. I think if you had a medium hand, and my ladies out there that may have smaller hands, this is probably a really solid option for you. I bet it would be super comfortable. If my wife doesn't get home too late from work tonight, I might just ask her to check to see if she's noticing any hot spots, any spots that don't feel comfortable to her, to see how it fits in her hand. And maybe what I'll do is record that separately and insert that here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick it down to the garage. I'll give you my thoughts and impressions on the blade geometry and how it cuts. All right, we're down in the garage. I got the Giant Mouse Atelier in the hand. I stropped it real quick, but I haven't tested it. I wanted to do that on camera with you guys and just see, like, I think I did 4 or 5 on either side. I didn't want to do too much because I wanted to keep it as factory as possible. Okay, so seems fine now. 4 or 5 strops, took it through the paper really well. Just one more time, just to kind of show you guys. Really easy to maintain LMAX. It's a great steel. By the way, it moved through that paper very slicey. Didn't feel like there was any resistance. The factory edge, again, felt good. I used some Goo Gone to make sure that I got the tape off of here. So single ply cardboard. I'm just going to do a couple of cuts and then I'm going to strop it up. So, oh yeah, it's a laser beam, guys. Absolute laser beam. Absolute laser beam. Let's see what it looks like now through the paper. 3 cuts, not a great sample size. You know, I admit that, but I want to show, like, does it do any damage? No. Edge is fantastic. You know, Giant Mouse does their best work with LMAX, and honestly, I would say, you know, if they have any sort of temptation, oops, that's my fault. Paper was folded. If they have any sort of temptation to do any other types of premium steel, I would say just, you know, run through some S90V. Everybody's really enjoying S90V. It has super fantastic edge retention, and it's going to be a steel that's going to be still easy to maintain, in my opinion. You'll be able to keep that fresh edge, and Giant Mouse does a fantastic job with their edges. Their edge angles are really good, guys. They do a fantastic grind over there. I really do enjoy a lot of the steels, and the geometry on this one, really good. It's not enough of a sample size to really tell you how I'd feel about, you know, prolonged cutting or anything like that. And as you can see, it's so easy to maintain LMAX. You know, it's a great steel. I really do like it. Something different if you're tired of 20 CV and 390 and all that jazz. That's going to be a good one. So I'm going to kick it back up to the table so I can finish my wrap up
on the other stuff that I wanted to cover with this one, and that should take care of it.
Okay, now that we're back up here, I'm going to finish with the rest of the review. Hopefully that blade information helps you there. Access to the lock bar is typical for Giant Mouse. I'm not going to sit here and complain about it. It is what it is. This lock bar is almost perfectly flush. It is way too tight for me to get in from the side. Every time I've disengaged it, I've put my finger all along the jimping there. I've smushed down onto the frame, onto the scales, I'm sorry, and the lock bar, and I've just slid in and over. So pushing in and over at the same time, that's how I disengage it. It does bite into the finger, and it's not super, super comfortable. Now, for the disengagement, like with the index finger, I would imagine it again, smaller hands, you're going to be able to successfully navigate that easier because you'll be able to get your finger in there a little bit better. It's tight for me. It's leaving marks on my fingers. Not comfortable at all. The action on it, it's a little tight in the pivot. I don't want to mess with the pivot because I don't know if Kevin did any crazy glue or anything like that to get it, a certain way. It is centered. Build quality does feel good. I'm not quite sure if that's rusting or if that's, which would be gross as dirt, so I'll try to clean that. Um, Actually, let me just try to do that real quick on camera, because if it's just dirt, it'll come right off, right? And if it's rusting, it's rust. Yeah, I didn't get any of it. So it is rusting there in the jimping. Keep that in mind. This is LMAX. Yeah, LMAX. I love the LMAX. They do a good job on the LMAX. And like S90V, I think LMAX does good in that 59 to 61 range, I think. And I didn't see it advertised because I was just on the page. So all in all, I would say it's an okay knife. Action's a little tight, underwhelming, small. There's not a lot of blade weight, and it's got a good detent. I think I'd rather have this detent and the gummed up action. That's not a really good descriptor because that sounds kind of bad, and it's not bad. It's a light blade. It's a light blade on a heavy detent. I don't know how else to describe it. It just feels a little bit slower to get there, but it does, everything internally feels smooth. The knife, let me go back. I think it starts at 215. I don't want to lie. 215, right? Sorry, I'm having to refer to this. Yeah, so the micarta 215, the carbon fiber, which looks really nice. It reminds me of the Growler V2 carbon fiber, 245. And then for this premium iteration, you're looking at 285. I have some alternative recommendations. So for 199, you can get the CJRB Echo, an S90V, titanium, with either knurling or an inlay. And at the time of the recording of this video, you can use my link down below, and you can use code Artisan10, and you can save 10% off of that. So instead of $199, it might be $189. I don't know. Math is a little too hard for me to do that quick on there. I think you get a little bit more ergonomically, a little bit more size, but you still get a very gentlemanly type carry. I feel like you could definitely carry this into the office. You could go out on the date, etc., etc. And I think this is going to work really well for you. As far as the blade geometry, it's a little bit thinner on the Echo. You get a better utility angle there with that modified reverse tanto, whatever you want to call it. You get a little bit of belly, which is going to do better for slicing, and you get a little bit more cutting edge than you do on the Atelier. So just one of the alternative recommendations I would make as a competitive price point. You could also go Miguron Kyrix 2. That would be a good one. One that I really like is going to be the Vosteed Datsun. I really like this one. Yes, it is a little bit longer, but I would still say, again, very good profile, better weight. It is going to have a better lock. You're not going to have to worry about the lock failing. This is not my knife. I can't whack it. And I really don't like doing that because it does damage the harder the blade steel is, the more that it damages the lock bar insert, and vice versa depending on the steel. And that type of damage, if you do cause an issue because you continuously do that and you try to warranty it out, the manufacturer can tell that there's impact damage. So keep that in mind. I would say do a whack or two at a good, whatever you feel comfortable with, to test it and then stop, because you can damage it because it's not meant to be hit. You just want to know on that instance that you accidentally whack it when you're pulling back harder than intended and you hit something that's not going to close on you. But that crossbar lock is not going to do that. Back to my alternative recommendation. So this is $209 right now on sale during the holidays. I think it's $229 regularly. So very competitive for the entry level, but you're getting M390 in titanium versus LMAX, steel liners with micarta, and I think still a brass backspacer. Geometry is very good on both of these. I would say that's probably a tie. Let me see here. Cutting edge, it's close. I would give the edge to the raccoon. And then, if you're looking, again, if you're looking for something a little bit more premium that's close to that $285 price range, I would say go out there and check Kunwu's website. They got the towel, the mini towel. Some of that I think is like $199, depending on the type, I think. I'm not 100% sure. And then you could go USA. Actually, I'm going to go Para 3 lightweight because you can get those as low as like 130, I think. I don't believe this S90V Sprint Run is around anymore, but that's just a for instance. They ordered it back before pricing was hiked up. Like they paid for the order and Spyderco had to finish. So it was 140, but I would think with inflation, they're going to be probably like 150, 160 now, around that price point. So again, USA made. It is going to be steel with G10, and there's aftermarket options. You can go out there and customize it, make it, how you want to make it. All in all, it's an okay knife. I would say, again, ladies, people with medium hands, it's probably going to work really well for you. If you're just doing a light duty EDC, large and up, you should be okay to use it moderately. It's not going to be very fidget friendly in my opinion. So this one would be one that I would probably say if you like Giant Mouse and you like the Anzo collab design language, just look internally at the other stuff that they have. They probably have something that's going to be a little bit better for you. Let me know what you think about the Atelier. Do you have it? Do you like it? Does it fit your hand size good? Because those comments will help other people that are looking for that information. There won't be a disassembly on this. Again, it's not my knife. This is a pass around, so I'm going to move it along. I apologize for anyone that might be looking for that, but I will link the Giant Mouse that I have owned, that I have disassembled, down below. If I had to guess, I don't know if this will tell you who the OE is, but let's check real quick. Oh my gosh, I put it on the laser. Sorry, a little pocket lint from being carried. I'm not really seeing anything jump out as to the OE is, and it's really hard to tell if this is on race washers or regular washers. So I will see if I can also find Kevin's video to see if he did the disassembly and link that for anyone that really would like that information. Shout out to everyone out there that leaves the likes, uses the links, comments, and is subscribed. Shout out to my channel members getting the early access for this one. I hope all of you have a fantastic week, and until next time, peace.